Greetings, YouTube. I was listening to NPR yesterday, and the person was interviewing a director of a film. And the film takes place in Iran, and it deals with a family. One of the members is a lesbian. The film deals with her trials and tribulations, both within her family and within the culture that she lives. Obviously, a film dealing with lesbians in Iran is going to be somewhat controversial. She's gotten a lot of positive feedback from her film, though. A lot of people asking if the film was based upon someone they knew, and it wasn't. But she did mention that she had gotten some negative feedback, and she mentioned one particular individual, a man that came out to speak to her after it had premiered in some city that she happened to be at. And he was just absolutely enraged. He was incensed that she would depict naked Muslim women in a film and depict Muslim lesbians having sex. Now, I found this particular attitude of his somewhat puzzling but not surprising. You see, the director basically delivered reality. Now, it's a reality that he may not have ever thought of before, or a reality that he didn't necessarily want to contemplate, but it was reality. You see, to the best of my knowledge, all women, at some point in their lives, are naked, regardless of their nationality or their religious affiliation. So naked Muslim women would be a reality. And I'm pretty sure if you are a Muslim woman and a lesbian, at some point it's fairly likely you're going to have sex with another woman. So that would also be reality. So he was apparently incensed at her showing him something he didn't want to think about. That was an uncomfortable truth that he just wanted to ignore. Now, I've encountered that particular situation myself, and the best example I could think of was I was on a message board, and I can't even remember the name of the message board. It was been years since I've been there. And I don't remember what the thread started out as, but eventually it became a discussion of the moral decay that some people were perceiving in the Western world. And one of the examples they were giving of this quote-unquote moral decay was that teenagers were having sex. Now, as I pointed out in the past, teenagers have having sex since they have been teenagers. Since before humans were around, teenagers were having sex. And in the Western world, at least in America, 95% of your average Americans have premarital sex. Regardless of who tells you otherwise, yes, even your parents, 95% of them have premarital sex. And in a very kind of honestly, and I'll admit it, in a flippant tone, I responded to his comment. I said, heck, if you're worried about the teenagers, I said, there are 12-year-olds in America that are having sex. Now, that is a statement of reality. There are 12-year-olds in America having sex. I did not endorse this. I did not encourage it. I did not support this. I just reported it. That's all I did. And since it was in a message board, I typed it. So at any time he chose, he could look back and see exactly what I wrote, word for word, in the most literal sense. But he didn't see what I wrote. What he heard me say, what he read from my phrase, was what he wanted to hear, what he wanted to read. He wanted someone to rail against. He wanted someone to get angry at. So he came back with this massive tirade about how I am the cause of moral decay in America, and how can I possibly support 12-year-olds having sex, and I'm an evil, horrible human being. I believe he also called me some nasty names, invectives, things like that. At no time did I actually do any of the things he accused me of. But that didn't stop him. Didn't even slow him down. I tried to explain this to him, and he lost it again. So I gave up and I walked away. I unsubscribed from the comment, from that particular thread, and I just kind of washed my hands of it. And shortly thereafter, when I encountered similar tirades on this message board, I stopped going there completely. It wasn't about discussing things. It was about venting, I guess. And while there is a place in the world for venting, I didn't want to be involved with that. But it did show me how some people are so desperate to bury their head in the sand, to not be exposed to the real world, to have reality hidden from them, that they will do anything, say anything, believe anything, so long as those uncomfortable truths stay as far away as possible.